Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful episode of EDU on Hair, especially dedicated to the higher education sector. Today, we are going to introduce you to the strategic insight that we've been sharing at BETT in this edition from 2026 and how we're supporting the higher education sector. So welcome to this episode again, and happy to share you all the fantastic news on the way. My name is Eleonora. I'm the higher education specialist for Middle East, Africa, and Europe here at Google for Workspace and AI specifically. And I'm with my beautiful colleague, Bart Moores. Thank you, Bart, for joining us today.
Yes, no problem. So as Eleonora said, my name is Bart. I'm a solution engineer at Google for Education. I'm responsible for the Benelux and all the Nordic countries. And we are going to talk about all the new features, especially for higher ed.
Fantastic. So let's switch to the agenda for the day. We have very fantastic news. We've been introducing many additional functionalities, starting with Google Workspace Studio. Have you ever wondered how to create mini agents to simplify your workflow in Workspace? So that's what we're going to show you today. Gemini and Notebook-LM, our major features on the Gemini chat assistant and Notebook-LM, one of the most amazing tools that students and professors are using as a guided assistant learning. And we're going to switch then for the third part to hands-on live demos. Bart will bring us like the full overview on how to use these tools in your day-to-day. And then finally, we're going to close up with class tools. Class tools are very other interesting tool that is very well used now in many universities for examinations. So thanks again. I'll give you back to you, the mic.
Yes, we're going to talk about Google Workspace Studio. And I guess you're wondering, what is Google Workspace Studio? So Google Workspace Studio, you can automate processes within your Google Workspace. For example, in your Google, in your Gmail, in your chat, in your calendar, to make your life even easier as it is today. So you can use it to offload complex tasks, autonomous agents built with Gemini, and move beyond simple logic with AI agents that can reason through problems without predefined script, assemble teams or specialized AI agents to handle tasks, assigning them specific roles like the researcher or product expert. And what's most important, it's available to all editions of Google Workspace for Education. The paid editions, they have higher access with higher limits and quotas. And it's not only with the Google products, it's even across Workspace apps and essential third-party apps. So you can connect them to your day-to-day usage of your apps directly to Google Workspace Studio. So there are a few ways that you can create such a flow. For example, just with a simple prompt. So if you open up Google Workspace Studio, you enter just a prompt, and just as you go, and Gemini will create this complete flow for you. And as you can see, you don't have to do anything. It will completely fill in everything you want, but you can adjust it as you go. And if it's okay, just save it and you will go. In this case, it creates a draft directly in your Gmail. And if it's okay for you, you can just send it to all your colleagues, customers, even with your students, teachers, parents. If you don't really know how to use this or you don't have any inspiration to create a prompt for it, Just look at all the prefix templates we already created, and it's free and easy to use for yourself. As you can see, we're going to automate and use a template to create a flow directly for your calendar and use your chat for it. So eventually, if you create a template, it will prefix every step, but you have to fill in every move that you want to make. And if you're pleased with the outcome, you can create on, save, and it will get a summarize of your calendar in this example completely directly in your chat, and you will get an overview what is happening this week in your calendar. In this case, you can automate functions in your Gmail. For example, it will extract invoices directly from your Gmail. It will extract it directly in your drive, so in the folder you want to use. So it will scan every email to a certain word, like an invoice, and it will extract every email and attachment directly in your drive. Then it will automate directly in your Google Sheet. So you have your reports in it, and it makes your life easier, because I can imagine that you have a lot of administration and you don't want to be bothered with these things. And now you can automate with Google Workspace Studio. Up to you, Eleonora.
And thank you, Bart. This was just a taste of what we're going to see today. So let's talk now about how we are expanding the Gemini access in Workspace. So for all our users that are on the Education Plus and Teaching and Learning add-on, what they will see now when navigating through Workspace, we have been adding some of the editors, majority of the editors. So referring to Help Me Create, for example, in Google Slides or in Gmail. Or we also been adding Gemini in Google Forms. You will have Workspace Studio available to you, as Bart was showing us before. So this is all part of the suite of tools available in those two editions and soon in fundamentals. Then for higher education audience that are willing to have more additional use, more query to be used, you have a special editions called Google AI Pro, which is our add-on. So you can add this special plan, it's a license, and it gives you access to everything, like all the beautiness of the generative AI in Google, including Notebook-LM and Gemini. Notebook-LM and Gemini is also included in the free version. So if you are a fundamental user of Workspace, you can have access to Gemini and Notebook-LM. Something else that is added here, it's just adding up on that, it's the access to Google Drive. So help me search in Google Drive from Google AI Pro. Finally, something else that we've been requested of, and many requests are coming from the admin controls. What are the admin controls that we are introducing? These are about Gemini, okay? Gemini in Drive and Gemini in Google Docs. So these are the new ones we've been introducing. That means that you will have, as an admin, more controls available to you. Okay, so you can use single on, off. It wasn't sufficient until now. So now we are doing this ability of surfacing, okay, slide, sheet, bits, and docs. There will be more to come, so be ready to welcome them. Some of the special use of Google Drive, for example, as you can see in this video. So you get access directly to Gemini. You can input your prompt. You can add your additional resources. Gemini can look into those resources. So there is this higher level personalizations. And when you're in Google Docs, that's what it helps you to do, to create a document from scratch. Another special one is Google Beads. Sorry, no, Google Docs. So this is what it helps you to create. Either if it's a Google form, you can create a preset form. You can create a preset docs, just starting from a single prompt. And finally, in this case, as we've seen Google Forms, you have your own form, and you can spend more time on personalizations of the form. So this is how we are facilitating the life of many of the departments that they need to have quick access, but also time for personalization. Finally, one of our stellar tools, Google Beads, for the ones who haven't used this any yet before, this is magic, all right? For marketing, for human resources, you can create videos starting from a prompt. You can choose your own resources. You can bring your own higher education's logos, your own content if you're a professor, okay? And you will also have access to a series of templates, okay? These are pre-made templates. So the level of personalization here is excellent, right? So this is how you see is creating a video, a short video. And finally, here we go. You have your dashboard to play with the video, understand if you want to add some personalized parts. You can add as well. This is beautiful. You can add your own talking notes. So you have this higher level of personalizations on how to get the best out of this video with your own words. Okay.
Announcing our new STEM program that will fuel research and academic excellence.
What is coming in Google Beads? Super important. Okay, it's available now in all Google Workspace editions, and the new generative AI features that we've been included are the ones as you see in this slide. So you have a transcript trimming, you can add image and videos, generate a voiceover, as you've been seeing in this video, and you can add the avatars as well. So the avatars availability, in this case, comes in Education Plus or in Google AI Pro as an add-on. But if you're using just like the simplest editions of Fundamental, what you can have is templates to start off. You can add your content, delete the scenes, and recording, okay? So as the teleprompter, so you have plenty of different type of views that you can make. And finally, let's go to the second part, Gemini and Notebook LM. So Gemini, as you know, is bringing the best out of the AI assistance support. So you can use it in your daily life as a professional, but also in your personal life if you need to do simple search, if you want to dig into specific contexts. When we think about Gemini, that's what we see, okay? Gemini can act with different roles. As a research assistant, you can have a personalized tutor if you are students and you need more time off school, of the university classroom to understand and learn at your own pace. It's a strategic partner, okay, for advanced guided research. Is a chief of staff. So many universities are using as well Gemini for creating FAQ, for example, instruct the other departments on specific topics. And finally, as a teaching assistant for faculty professors. So it's a very valid tool for many different tasks. And when we come to how do we divide our generative AI tools in education, we see that Gemini for Education, this is the one that I just explained before. You can get access directly at gemini.google.com, and you can have access to pre-made gems. You have all different kinds of LLM that we will show you in a moment. So it's ready for use. Even if you're in the Fundamental Edition, you can start directly on using Gemini. And on the right, you have Notebook-LM. Notebook-LM is a stellar tool. It's being used widely by plenty of university, and it's like your personal guided dashboard. So you can input your own resources, you can study through them, you can create infographics, audio overview, you name it. There's a lot of things that you can do. And again, you can access directly from notebook-lm.google.com. This is all the stellar pieces we're bringing together, okay? When we looking into Gemini and Notebook-LM, these are the magic LLM models that you can use. You might have heard about Nano Banana. Nano Banana is for image generations, okay? It's widely used by everyone. Super interesting and super fun too. Gemini 3 is our latest LLM models that we have been releasing after the 2.5, and is the most efficient one, okay, for deep thinking, for deep reasoning. So this is the one that you will see across Gemini. Finally, Veo 3. You want to create short videos? Veo 3 is the tool that is for you, okay? Very high quality videos, short videos that you can also use for marketing purposes, or just internally, like for a presentation with your students or in your department. And LearnLM, finally, LearnLM is part of like our strategic foundational LLM models that we have. It means that LearnLM is the tool that helps you and helps the students, and especially the students, to analyze content with all the metacognition feedback loop that you need to have as the students, without giving you direct responses, but help you, guiding you from the learning steps, okay? So it's a very, very valuable foundational LLM, LLM models that guides all the structure of what we offer in Google for Education. And if it's not enough, well, security is what we stand for. And many of you have been asking, do we offer enterprise data protections in our tools? The response is yes. And what you have to know especially is that we give all the premium value that you've been seeing until now without the price. So you can access all the enterprise data protections if you are a free user or a paid user, okay? If you're in the fundamental edition and you're just using Notebook-LM and Gemini, you get full data controls, okay? And what is most important to say, that we are and we support all the compliance regulations in Europe. So we stand on the forefront, okay, of GenAI integration. And finally, this is the most interesting part. Bart is gonna play on the go some of the demos, and I hope you can really interact with them, and see you back again.
Yes, thank you, Eleonora. I'm going to change my screen. So this is a live demo, so bear with me, please. I'm going to show you how to use Gemini, but I'm going to show you just a few features within Gemini, not all of them. I'm going to show how to use deep research. I'm going to show you how to use Canvas within Gemini, but I'm going to show you also how to use Notebook-LM. And within Notebook-LM, I'm going to talk about how to use the features within Notebook-LM and how to adjust them as you, I can imagine that you want to adjust them. So first, I'm going to show you deep research. You can just enter your prompt on the subject which you want to research. If you need help creating the perfect prompt, you can also use Gemini creating that prompt. Just ask them on the subjects you want to create a prompt for deep research. That's the way I did it. So you select deep research, then you will add the complete prompt. And as you can see, this is quite a prompt that I didn't write myself. I used Gemini for it. You can add your resources on Google search, but if you have a subject you already did some research on and it's in your Google Drive, your Google Chat, or your Gmail, you can add this as well. And you can use your files directly from your Google Drive. You can change it to fast, thinking, or pro. I will leave it on fast, and we are going to start. First, when you click on start, it's going to think about your prompt, and then it will create a research plan. And as you can see, this is the complete plan which Deep Research is going to research about. And if you don't like it, you can edit if you want, or you can start Deep Research. And now it's going to start Deep Research, and it will take you on everything as it goes. So it shows your thinking. So instead, I can imagine if you're doing some research, you're going to take every step, you're going to document every step, and this is what Gemini also does. So I'm going to fast forward into this one. I already made one. This is the Deep Research I created from the same prompt. So then you have the outcome. And as you can see, that every piece of the Deep Research, there's a Learn More button. And if you click on the Learn More button, you see the resources it get their information from. If you scroll down, and I mean completely down, you see all the resources it used in the report. And that's quite a lot. And of course, it's depending on the subject. It has the resources it has read, but not used in the report. And these are the complete thoughts. So if you want to learn more about how Gemini created this paper, you can read this along how it contains the information. And if you don't like reading as I do, you can create, for example, an audio overview of it. And I already did it. So I created an audio overview, and in total of 5 minutes 29, it gives you a complete example about so if you have read the Deep Research, if you listen to the audio overview, I can imagine that you want to test the knowledge if you did understand the Deep Research completely, because this is the topic you want to research on, and instead of doing the research yourself, you let Gemini did the research. So I can imagine that you want to test your knowledge. So what I did to do this, I created an interactive quiz about this. So first, I made an export to docs. As you can see, it created the complete overview in your docs. Then I used the prompt with the resource of the Google Docs to create an interactive quiz about this subject. And the quiz has to have multiple choice answers and with a maximum of 10 questions. When it's wrong, it has to give feedback and why it's wrong. When they finish it, it gives feedback on how many percentage good the question was made. So then you have your quiz with 10 questions with your feedback if it's wrong and or it's good, and you have a hint. And now you can test your knowledge about this subject. Moving over to Notebook-LM, because first you had your deep research with all of these beautiful resources. And of course, you checked all the resources, whether it was good or whether it was bad. But this research, these resources, you want to share with your students. So you picked the best resources of this subject, and you will put this in the Notebook-LM. And first, you did add resources, and you can upload files. You can upload websites, like I did. But also, I added a PDF file. You can add your drive or just the complete text. So I did this website. I pasted directly here, and then it will give an overview in Notebook-LM. You can ask questions about this. For example, I use this prefixed prompt, and now it will look only in these resources instead of, that's the biggest difference between Notebook-LM and Gemini. So Notebook-LM is going to use Gemini to read these resources and then provide you with an answer based on the resources. And Gemini, it will give you a total answer just based on the knowledge Gemini has. And the fun thing is, if you use Notebook-LM, you can use, you can see the text, but also the numbers. And if you click on the number, it will go to the resource based on where the information is. The good thing is that you can also, if you share this with your students, you can create flashcards about this subject. So for example, you get questions, and you get, if you click on it, you get the answer. Also, you can create an audio overview about it. And in Notebook-LM, you can have an interactive conversation with this audio overview. So if you have your interactive, you can ask questions to the person which is in the notebook, and it will give an answer based on your question. After handling your question, it will just go through the complete audio overview. You also can create an infographic if you want to give it more visualization. And if you're not 100% happy with the outcome, you can adjust it. So at every functionality, almost every functionality, you see a pencil. And if you click on the pencil, you can change also the language, but also the level of detail, or just create a complete prompt yourself. And if you do this, it generates a complete new outcome based on the feature you are using. Back to the presentation. So if you want to get started, try Gemini at gemini.google.com or try Notebook-LM at notebook-lm.google.com.
Thank you, Bart. That was super exciting. Hope you can connect with us as well offline to show some other ways you can use Notebook-LM and Gemini. Thank you for the moment. This was a very useful use case. So we're going to switch now to class tools. Okay, what are class tools? This is our special release and will be super useful for you, like for professor to use in the classroom environment for examinations. So I'm a millennial. I remember I had access to a computer lab when I was at uni, and you only get a chance to go there for an hour a week, right? So now we are truly getting this environment very more engaging. So as we switching from computer labs, finally, as we switched, we came into a total new interactive environment, which is the classroom's laptops. Okay, so it's been like the same work over decades, but now this is getting a tremendous shift. And what we're bringing to you, but for students and professors, is the possibility to have access to device availability that are managed by the professors. Professor can manage the content where students get access to. So we are completely evolving, okay, in this part. What is ClassTools, by the way? Okay, we've been announcing this at BETT in January, that we are basically developing a new suite of features for professor so they can connect with their students. And these features is called ClassTools. What it will help you to do, professor can connect with the student devices. This happens in real time, and they can provide a completely different level of experience, okay, from a device managed device. So what happens in few steps? Once a professor connects with the students, they can send and pin the content to students' devices. This will help dramatically, and it's already helping dramatically to reduce distractions for students. They can also provide transcribed captions for the students. So this can help the students to follow, okay, a piece with the complete transcribed notes from the professor, so they can follow up different stage of the exam. And finally, the professors, they have this great ability to remotely check what their students are doing. And this is one of the major benefits. So they can see in real time what they're doing, and they can check what students are, how they are performing, and they can give us a real time feedback. So as in conclusion to this, ClassTools is a very powerful tool. It's used now in examinations room. It's very powerful for as a management tool in the class, and it really gives the ability to the professor to make a difference. And just if you're wondering how can you get this, so we're excited to share that this is launching to all professors and students on managed Chromebook devices with Google Workspace for Education Plus in June this year. So as I said before, the teaching tools, they need to evolve, and they are evolving, okay? So we are seeing this transactional change, okay, from a static classroom to a more interactive classroom. That's everyone what is expected to see, right? With the technology as it is expanding, evolving, and bringing everyone in the same setting. So it is essential for us that the technology doesn't act as a barrier. Okay, it needs to break down barriers. It needs to give access, okay, in different modalities to everyone. So it needs to be accessible. And as they keep evolving this tool, what we really want to highlight when it comes to ClassTools, so they are available through Chromebox and OBN device. They are available on Workspace Plus, and you have different requests that you can make to us. Like in terms of Chromebook devices, we can come to your university, we can introduce you to the ClassTools, we can run demos for you. So we really give you the chance, the possibility to have us as Googlers to support you during the engagement process with these fantastic tools. And now we have another last demo from Bart, which is going to give you some of the best way how to use this tool in your university. Bart, back to you.
Yes, so how ClassTools empowers your faculty community. So the teachers and professors, they jumpstart lessons by sending content to student screens monitoring screens to ensure students in staying on task, share a student screen to celebrate great work, for example, or annotate anywhere in your screen to help students focus on key information. For students, follow along with captions or live instructions and translate instructions to the language they learn best in, or stay focused on the instruction resources. So how does this work exactly? So ClassTools is built on the Chrome OS itself. So it's not an application, it's a feature within Chrome OS. And we have a lot of universities all over the globe who are using Chromebooks for examination. For example, we have a showcase in Italy where ClassTools is being used in a university for examination, because you have a lot of tools based on plugins or based on applications to log on your complete device of the students. And the power of ClassTools is that it's being built on the Chrome OS itself. So there's no really flaw. There's no plugin is being used to lock your screen, or an application, and third-party application which is using to block your complete device. But how does this work? How does this look like? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and change my video output. And next to me, I have two Chromebooks. One teacher Chromebooks, as you can see, I have here, this is my teacher Chromebook, and this is my student Chromebook. First, as a teacher or a professor, and I want to prepare an examination for my students. So first, I'm going to look for all the resources. As you just saw, I have Wikipedia on about Google, because this examination is about Google. First, I'm going to add some students, and you can add your students in a few ways. One way is using Classroom for it. So I've set up a Google Classroom and put all my students in. So as you can see, I've put my students, all 6 of them, I put them in my Classroom, and I added super fast in my ClassTools. You can also use if you start a session without any students, you can let them join. As you can see at my student device, you have your join code, and I will let you see how does this work as well. But first, I have my students, then I will add my resources, and resources can be classroom assignments, like a Google form, for example, where you create your own examination material, but can also be open tabs, like Wikipedia as a resource. But you don't want to let your student get lost on Wikipedia, because I don't know if you ever got lost, but I get lost all the time because I'm clicking in every button in Wikipedia. So you have 3 options: restrict to this page, restrict to the site, or no restrictions. So no restrictions, obviously, you have no restriction on whatsoever what's happening on the site. Restriction to the site, and that's the URL, so you can go to every link within Wikipedia, or you can restrict to this page, so only the URL you provided to the student. And you don't want to open external links on that website. You can use captions for examinations. That's normally not been used, but if you are using this in a classroom and you speak a different language than the students, you can use your use your captions, and students can translate this on their device. Or you have students which are needing hearing aid, for example, and they want to read what you're saying. You can use your captions on the big screen if you are presenting as a student or as a faculty member or a professor, or the student can use the captions on their device. So I added my students and resources. I'm going to next. Then you will get your session details. You can change this up to 120 minutes. And you have 2 student views, explore and focus. If you are using this in your classroom and you want some control, you can use the explore mode. But if we are using this in a examination, you want a focus mode, definitely, because the focus mode, it will restrict the Chromebook itself. If I click on start session, as I do now, and I'm going to change to the students, as you can see, the pop-up will come to every option that the teacher is doing on the Chromebook. The student will get a notification what will be happening on your Chromebook. So as you can see, I forced the focus mode, and the student can't do anything except using the resources you as a teacher provided to the student. Here above, you see the open tabs, as the Wikipedia is the only tab I provided. This is in the resources. They can't use the captions because you as a teacher didn't allow that. And you see how many minutes are left. And because of the restrictions, you see here the overview, what the battery is, and how strong your Wi-Fi connection is and the time. If I'm going back to the teacher overview, as I mentioned, you have a join code. And as you can see, this is the join code students can use to join the session. And now it will, you got a new feature. So when you have an active session in Class Tools, you can also use the log function. So if you want to, when the time is done, for example, you will give your students only 1.5 hours to get this examination, you can log all screens and the student can't do anything on the Chromebook anymore. And then last, I'm going to use the Explore mode. And as you can see, the controls get back from for the students, and they can use their Chromebook itself, only controlled and by the teacher. To control or to watch about what the student is doing, you can view your screen. So I went to students, and then I clicked this view screen. And now I have the option to see what is happening real time on the student device. So I'm now going to click on Wikipedia, and as you can see, it is going one-on-one with the viewing on the Chromebook of the student. So this tool is really a focus tool so that students get more focused within the sessions. Lastly, you can add extra minutes from 1 minute to 10 minutes and you can end the session. And if you end the session, it will get the fully control back on the student device. And with that, I'm going to get back to our presentation. I'm going to change my screen again and going back to our presentation.
Thank you, Bart. Great. And we are approaching the end of the sessions, but we also would love to know, like, what if you have any questions, we can take it online and offline. And happy to introduce you as well on the next steps. Okay, we are running edu-on-air. We are running multiple episodes. So let me tell you what will be the upcoming sessions. The next one is on February 26th, basically in 2 days. Please subscribe, get ready for that. We're going to kick off 2026 with goo.gle. We have a very, very special guest. Is the co-founder, Steven Johnson from NEU and Spotlight. You get this opportunity once in a lifetime. So please join, subscribe. You can sign up and be ready for Steve Johnson to bring you all the goodness of goo.gle. Finally, the other upcoming session is on March 24th. In this session, there will be Gemini introduced. Gemini, how it can be used for everyone, from the essential to the free AI toolkit for admin. So we're going to bring different scenarios, okay, for how to use Gemini in your head. So you can sign up for that too. These two are both very, very useful for you to gather the learning, the experience, the knowledge, and then to be ready also to implement it in your department. So we really thank you for attending. This session will be also available on demand. So please feel free to share it with your former colleagues. And definitely, please, if you have the time, just a few seconds of your time, feel free to complete the feedback survey, okay, which help us as well to guide, customize the other sessions that will come. And we really want to hear from you, right? This is a co-partnership with our higher education stakeholders. So we really want to get this engagement and support you where you stand right now, right? So thank you very much for attending. And there were some questions that came up before. Someone asked for let me check. Yes, someone asked for if Workspace Studio it will be available, if it will be available in all Workspace edition. Yes, that's correct. That's the right answer. So Workspace Studio will be also available in Fundamental, has been announced last week, but in all editions. So you will be able to test Workspace Studio at your own pace. If you are a Fundamental user as well, feel free, start to create your workflow, share it with us, with Bart and I, because we need more demo. We want to have more demo, more input from you. So help us to co-create, right, with your fellow colleagues. And another question, if we have still the time to take this one as well, what languages are supported in this tool? So when it comes to Gemini, the interface and prompt supports around 70 languages, okay? So that means that, the main languages are English, Spanish, French, German, Chinese, but there are 70 languages that are supported, right? So we will share you some articles on Workspace updates. You can also sign up for the Workspace updates, which is a trustful resource where you can see all the updates regarding Google for Education features. And when it comes to goo.gle, it's critical for everyone to use it. I think it's where everyone knows about goo.gle, right? When it comes to language capabilities, we have expanded them to support as well international languages. So from input and output, there are over maybe 80 languages that are supported. Bart, do you?
I think there are 50 languages.
50. Sorry, we always aiming for more. Maybe one day there will be 80.
let's say 50. Let's say 50 plus.
Exactly. Thanks for that. All right. Yes, I think we're good for today. But if you have any other questions, you can connect with us directly. We can share you our email addresses. We can connect with you offline. Feel free. So thank you everyone for attending. And it was a pleasure to introduce you to these new updates. And thank you, Bart, for running these fantastic demos.
And thank you.
See you on the next. Bye-bye.